Morning. Hello. Hi, how is everyone this morning? Can you do like a brief summary of yesterday when you do that? Yes, absolutely. It's actually been trying to upload forever. It's like it's been telling me that there's 30 seconds left in the upload for, I don't even know how long at this point. It's so bizarre. But I will go over a brief overview of it. No problem. But it's like, I don't know why it's doing that. It's like just sitting there spinning for hours and hours. And I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Not ideal. Good morning. All right. Wow. We are emptying things out like crazy people here. Let's go. It doesn't want you to. All right. How's everyone doing? I'm pretty good, Andrea. How are you? How is everybody? Is everyone feeling good? Everybody get their kids off to school if they have them? The coffee smells good already, you guys, which we know is a win. It's Tuesday. In case you guys didn't know, we're going to have 2 Roll for Slimes this week. One on Wednesday and one on Thursday because the votes were split. So there's a day for everybody. We're not playing favorites, yada yada. You know, it's all good things. All good things. I'm exhausted. Yeah, that's true. You did have a really busy weekend, so you were like all over the frickin' place. But it was all good stuff. First day and everyone made it on time. Yay, no meltdowns. This is the no meltdown dance. My daughter's first day of kindergarten is tomorrow. Oh, interesting. Why are they starting midweek? 10th and 7th grade start tomorrow. Oh, multiple people are starting midweek. Oh. Well, that's weird, isn't it? Am I wrong that that's a little weird? Why are they doing that? I don't really understand. What do we think's going on there? Have you started senior year on Friday? Slow start for kindergartners here. Everyone else's were normal. Very interesting. Brandon starts Thursday too. Well, apparently I don't know anything. 6th and 9th started first to give them a day to themselves. Interesting. Teachers have a service day before kids come. Interesting. We had to fight to start today instead of Thursday. Wow. Yeah. I don't really understand that because most teachers are in the classroom for like over a week before the kids get there anyway. So like, what does this one day matter, I guess? I don't know. All right. Oh, well. Weird to me, but I'm not in charge. I don't run the school district, so clearly, you know. What do you think my hair's doing here? Something weird. No schools and kindergartners start late to give the other grades time to adjust. Oh, Mark was only 1 day last week. Really? It's a little bit of activator on my hands helps so much. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, that helps a lot, right, Megan? Yeah. people don't understand, and obviously how could you understand because you don't know, but like these little tiny changes make such a big difference. The only thing that I always tell people is just like go so small at first, because sometimes people go too big with these suggestions, right? Obviously you didn't because it worked for you. But sometimes people just like pour everything in, and I'm like, friends, let's start small, because we can always add more, but you can't take any away. You know what I mean? Like that's what I always tell all my classes. You can always add, but you can't take any ingredients away. It's just like when you're cooking. If you're gonna add the dry ingredients to the wet, go little by little, because you can always keep adding, but you can't take it back, you know? So, slime is much the same, and I'm glad that that worked for you. That's exciting to hear. Just rubbed it on my hands and it was magic. Exactly. That's exactly true, Megan. That's exactly. I tell people use it like you're rubbing on a little bit of hand sanitizer, which, fun fact, it is a little bit of a hand sanitizer in its own way. But that's neither here nor there. For those who don't know, borax and boric acid are actually antivirals. So in their own little weird way, they are helping in that regard as well. I am not actually a hand sanitizer user because my doctor mom told me some scary stories about it, so I just wash my hands with good old soap and water. And if I need to bring something in my like Disneyland bag or something like that, I use like wet wipes. I know everyone's different. Some people really love hand sanitizer. No shade to those people. Everyone has to live their own life. I just choose personally not to. It is what it is. Whatever. Now I do have a question. I did make a big amount of activator. I didn't use it because I said, but absolutely you should save it. 100% save it. Just mark the container so it's really obvious to anyone else in your life that it is not water, because it looks like water when you save it, and obviously it's not good to drink. Will it kill you? No. Will it make you have a tummy ache? Yes. So just, I always just like put like a label on it or something that says like slime activator or whatever like that, but you can keep it as long as you want. And if you keep it with a cap on it, it'll last a really long time, like months and months. If you leave it uncapped like I leave mine, because I reach into mine a lot, it does evaporate faster, but like not bad, you know? Yeah. I always make a big batch as well. I make like literally a whole jug full. Hand sanitizer always leaves a weird... That's true, it does do that on you, which is a little strange. I don't really know why it does that. But some people really love hand sanitizer, and listen, I'm not going to tell them not to use it, right? I just know, like, my mom's not so hippy-dippy, you guys, right? So if she's like, oh, don't use something, I'm generally like, why? You know? If she was like a doctor who was like scared of all like things or something, it'd be different. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Do you want to see the drawers for, these are the drawers that Secret Husband made for our baby's changing table that attaches to the crib, which we are currently unable to put together any further because the backboard came broken, but school, they're finally all in school. Wow, that's amazing, Becca. How'd you do that? But the replacement headboard is on the way to us. So that's nice, at least. Yeah, I don't either, Amanda. I just use wet wipes if I'm out somewhere and I can't wash my hands for some reason. I'd rather have wipes. Talked a ton in front. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, they did. Amazon didn't send a replacement, but the manufacturer sent a replacement. So we ordered a crib and changing table combo piece because we live in a really tight space, and we needed to maximize our space. And when it came, the entire headboard was cracked in 5 different places. And Amazon was like, you can just mail it back. And we were like, how? And they were like, or we can give you a $19 credit. And we were like, I'm sorry, friends, do you know how much cribs cost? $19 is not gonna cover it. They literally said $19.11 would be our credit for a broken headboard. And we were like, you know the whole crib isn't usable if the headboard is cracked, right? Like, it's not even gonna hold together at all. And it was like a literal joke, $19.11. And we were like, no. So I contacted the manufacturer and they've already shipped out a replacement, thank goodness. They have like a whole thing set up for that. I don't know where they got that number, Anya. I was in shock. I was like, are you guys on drugs or something? Because $19 like literally would do me nothing. $19 wouldn't buy one of the pieces of wood for one of these drawers these days. I was like, is this a joke? Like, who do you think you are, $19? Like, the sheets are gonna cost more than $19. Like, what? I was flabbergasted. I was on the phone with the guy and I was like, come again? I think he thought that I was like, yeah, exactly. You can't even get a used one for $19. Exactly. I was so shocked, you guys, when he said that. I was like, I don't want to be this person, but I have to speak to your manager because $19 is not going to cover anything, let alone the shipping. They wanted me to ship it back or get a $19 credit. And I was like, how am I going to afford to ship this back? And they were like, well, if you keep the receipts, we'll refund you afterwards. I was like, excuse me, what? I was like, are you joking? You broke it. Hey, Grayson. Grayson, we were talking about your niece's crib and how it came broken. In this economy, and that's what I said. They were like, just bubble wrap it. I was like, are you paying for the bubble wrap? Do you know how much bubble wrap costs? Because let me tell you, this small business knows how much bubble wrap costs. And enough bubble wrap to bubble wrap an entire crib is gonna be hundreds of dollars, literally. Like literally hundreds of dollars, you guys. I was like, I'm sorry, this is not happening right now. And thankfully, like I said, the manufacturer didn't even argue. They just sent a replacement right away. I was like, oh, thank goodness. But Amazon was like on some stuff when they said that to me. I was like, please do not mess with me while I'm pregnant and this is my child's crib. I was like, are you really telling me you want to mess with the safety of a sleeping baby? Don't go there with me right now. I was like, don't even talk to me. I was so mad. Secret husband had to walk away because he was so upset. Like, he was on the phone. We were both talking to them on speakerphone and he got so upset about it that he literally walked away. He was like, I can't do this right now. Was it a third party? No, it was sold through Amazon. Did the term sleep safe fall through? Yeah, literally though, right? I was like, hey guys, so some of the cracks are like along the join where the screws go in. We're not doing this. I was like, it's not happening. It's not like it's aesthetics and it's scuffed. Like, we'll paint over a scuff. That's not what this is. It's like physically cracked. I was like, no, friends, no, not doing it. Okay, so before we start, I did promise a little recap, but I want to give everybody info first. So in case anyone wasn't here yesterday, the author of this book, Mallory Marlowe, has agreed to come and do a Q&A with us. Yay, so exciting. So when this book is over, the author will come and talk to us, which means if you have any questions, we should be writing them down as we go along because so freaking amazing, right, that we get to have her with us. She is not super active here on TikTok, but she does have a TikTok which she will use to join our live. She's much more active on IG. If you like her work and you want to follow her there, of course, please do, which is very exciting. But she like jumped at the chance. Like, I was like, hey, no pressure, are you interested in talking to us? And she answered me within like, I'm not even joking, 30 seconds, and was like, absolutely, I would love to do that. And so I told her as soon as we had a feel for when we were going to be done with the book, I would ask her schedule for the next couple of days after that, and we'll figure out. It'll probably be in the evening to be respectful of the fact that she has a full-time job. But all this to say how exciting, and please do write down your questions as we are reading. Announcement number 2 is that if anyone has been thinking about joining Patreon and hasn't yet, you only have 10 days to do it before I close for everything until Halloween. We do have 2 roll for slimes this week. If you're looking to sign up for a roll for slime this week, you have Wednesday and Thursday. That's fair, Amanda. I will try to make sure. Well, no Sundays, yeah. Oh, and no Thursdays because football. Oh, unless we do it at a different time, right, Amanda? I mean, like if we do it at not when they're playing, it doesn't really matter. We already have the name question on lock, exactly. So feel free to go put your name in for your things if you have September birthdays and you need a slime or anything like that. And then the last thing is we wanted a small recap of yesterday. So yesterday's chapters, we read 2 yesterday, were basically Hallie getting permission to like film the first episodes of this TV or this web series, and Hayden basically choked on camera. So he's a podcaster and she thought he was going to do really well on this show, but he like couldn't do it. And so she kind of from behind the camera tried to jump in and be like the bouncing board for him to talk a little bit. And her boss saw that and was like, I want you to co-host. And she's like, I'm a producer, I don't go in front of the camera. And he's like, but it was kind of good when you did. So that's where we're at right now, basically, is that they've agreed that she's going to try to co-host, and they are going on location to try to find Bigfoot. So that's what happened yesterday, with a lot of hilarious banter and witty dialogue in between. Absolutely, you can, Liz. Yes, of course, 100%. So Liz's question is actually pertinent to everybody. Anybody who used their September membership for a credit for the Halloween restock, what's going to happen is I'm going to make a code for you that will take the amount of your whatever you have left over, because everybody has different amounts, right? So it's different for everybody. That code will take that off of your pre-order for your Halloween stuff, right? So in Liz's case, she wants to cash in on one of her September things for October restock, and so whichever one that is. Yeah, I know you didn't want to forget, but it's actually pertinent to everybody, Liz, so we can share the info for everybody. Some people said, oh, apply my grab bag to my Halloween credit. Hey, Chloe. Mine's October, September. Oh, thank you, Liz. That's very sweet. Well, whichever one it is. So, for example, some people who have grab bags, they'll basically get $15 off of their pre-order amount, and it'll just be a code that's a one-time use code per person, and you'll get to use it for that, and that's how you'll get that credit applied to you, so that nobody has to like keep track of like whatever's going on. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. I have a list of all the people who need those, and obviously, Liz, I will add you to that list. And October slimes are going to be amazing. The pre-orders are going to be so much fun. You guys, can I tell you one of the slimes I came up with for Halloween that's a little bit like, maybe I went too far, but maybe I didn't. Do you guys want to hear it? I'm really excited about it, and I think it's so funny. I already ordered the supplies. They're almost here. I will tell you, it's a frog spawn slime. And it is an orange frog spawn slime. And the name is Nemo's Siblings. I know, it's really bad, but it's perfect for Halloween, you guys. It's so funny. It's so funny, right? Like, it's pretty funny. It's bad, but like it's good for Halloween, right? Like any other time of year, I would be a jerk, but it's pretty funny. It's just dark enough, that's right. It's like, it's still Disney, so it's still me, but it's a little bit dark. Shark bait, hoo-ha-ha, yes. Ray, the name of the slime is Nemo's Siblings, and it's an orange frog spawn slime. So, you know, we've got popped blood vessels, we've got spider webs, we've got Nemo's siblings. It's Halloween, you guys. Every year we go all out for Halloween. I can't help myself. You know I'm obsessed with Halloween. It's too easy for me to thank you, Grayson. It is too easy for me to come up with like really good Halloween stuff. Like they just fall out of my brain like that. And I was like, it's a little Marlon Jr. Wah, wah. Marlon Jr. Jr. That is what we are. That is what we are doing. So that's one of the slimes that will be in the pre-order. And I ordered a lot of those beads, so there's plenty for everybody. I got them on the Labor Day sale, and I ordered like 5 giant pounds of orange beads. Anyway,
let's read, but I just wanted everyone to know that that's one of the signs. Can we get a redo of open heart surgery? That is on the list as well. I'm getting that one. Can we get a big orange guy that comes with a yellow orange? Yeah, please, please, please. You know what, Amanda? I'm hoping that we won't need it. I got to tell you, Amanda, I'm hoping we won't need it. I'm hoping that by October, we're just going to be like sliding across that finish line in a couple of days. You know what I mean? By the time Halloween comes, we're real close. We're in the final stretch, you guys. We won't need it. I'm trying to be positive and just like, I know we went too positive in 2016. I'm not going that positive. I'm not like crazy, but you know. So anyway, some of the things that are returning from last year are, well, actually, pumpkin crunch cake is from 2 years ago, but it's changing texture. We're bringing back open heart surgery. We're bringing back melted Mike. We're bringing back popped blood vessel. We're having candy corn crunch. I might bring back candy corn cloud also because exactly, Tressa, exactly. Hopeful, but keep your eye on the prize. Be mindful, be demure, if you will. We all have to vote still, but I think we're doing okay. I think we're okay. Perlite, yeah, I do have some, yeah. I wonder which one, I don't have an idea for, you know what we could do for perlite? For perlite, we could do like bones and stuff, like broken bones, because it kind of does just look like bones, right? Perlite basically, and then we could put the glow in the dark bones in that slime. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I'm not against crunching bones. We did something like that last year, right? I always like to have some, no, I was thinking it would smell like marshmallow. I always like the white ones to smell like marshmallow because I'm just a basic bee. Graveyard, yeah. I also, a lot of people have been requesting like the haunted house smelling one. Graveyard, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff coming. The list is good. I try to do a mix of like returning favorites and new fun stuff. Obviously the Nemo one is new. The candy corn crunch is new. Pumpkin crunch cake is adjusted. Some of the wicked ones are returning. Some of the wicked ones are new. What does a haunted house smell like? Like the smoke that they pump through there. You know, it's got that like weird musty smell to it. It's interesting. It's not a bad smell. I don't hate it. But a lot of people really like that. And I've been thinking about putting that into one as well. Okay, so let's read anyway. I just want to catch everybody up on like all that stuff before, in case anyone has to peace out before the end. So go forth and be happy about those things. We're on chapter 7 today. Chapter 7. The old Hollywood vibes are strong as I sink into a sleek leather chair and smooth jazz plays over the speakers. First built in 1926, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel was the home to the first Academy Awards. A nearby tour guide whispers, trying to intrude as little as possible. Back then, the ceremony lasted only 5 minutes. Can you imagine that? Yeah, you can look inside. Yeah, it's the longest continuously running hotel in all of Los Angeles. It's also one of the most haunted hotels in the city. What? Why did it turn off right when I turned the page? How dare you? I glance over my shoulder and a familiar tour guide pokes his head into the lobby. I'm not confident that Gary's daytime walking tour is any more informative than the one I shelled out a serious amount of cash for. This hotel is home to some of the most kindred spirits in Tinseltown, including one Marilyn Monroe. Oh God, not you again. Behind the tour group, Hayden waits patiently for them to stop blocking the door. I have nothing to say. You've been correct so far. Can I just... Gary grumbles, but guides the guests out of the way so that Hayden can enter. He lugs several large bags with him. Clearly, he's packed for more than one night away. Either that or he has a very intense skincare or maybe hair care routine. He does really have nice skin and hair, though. He meets me with an eager smile that I can't help but return. Are we moving in? Where's your Ouija board? Hayden glances at all his bags. It'll make sense in just a minute. Come on, let's go get checked in. I'm already on the edge about spending an entire night alone with Hayden. Scroll wasn't willing to shell out the money for 2 rooms. Besides, if we're filming overnight, we should be together, I guess. I conquered my fear of being alone with him when we prepped the pilot episode, but there's something strangely intimate about being in a room alone with him for a whole night. He'll see me without makeup on, in my pajamas. Will I know what position that I sleep in? I'll shower in the bathroom and then he'll know that I'm naked in there. He'll be getting my morning grumpy grogginess. I will be sleeping in my bra. As we reach our room, there's a childlike glee in his eyes and Hayden films discreet shots of the interior. Our travel budget only accommodates 2 people, so we're on our own for filming this location. I could not get us one of the more haunted rooms, he laments. Oh, shame, I say. It is a shame. Our room is nicer than most hotel rooms I've ever stayed in. 2 large beds, perfectly made sheets, colored pillows, a desk in the corner, a flat screen. There are even wood floors, which is a change from the usual horrifying hotel carpets. Our windows overlook Hollywood Boulevard and a parking structure. This is classic Hollywood. Not bad. I see why the celebrities who check in here don't want to leave. Ha! I snark as he sets down the bags. Did you bring our whole studio in there? Our. Even if I weren't the host, it would still be our studio, but now I am the host. The Menger Hotel in San Antonio is haunted. We stayed there summer before we were. Ooh, do you have stories? The Roosevelt and the Sicily thing are really haunted. Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. The title is still kicking around in my mouth and I haven't settled on an aftertaste yet. It still doesn't feel real, and it especially doesn't when Hayden reaches into one of the bags and he whips out a camera. Boom, night vision. I block my face with my hand like a celebrity trying to avoid the paparazzi, and Hayden frowns. Come on, you can't tell me you're camera shy. No, I mean, of course not. I'm not used to being allowed in the spotlight. No one's ever wanted me there before. I lower my hand though. We don't need night vision if the lights are on, I advise, and Hayden sinks into one of the kitchenette chairs and dives into his bag again. He unloads the content onto the table. Whoa, are we going full Watergate here, or... No, I'm just coming prepared. Uh-huh, I say. And what exactly is all this stuff? All right, well, this is our night vision camera, obviously. Next, we have the infrared thermometer to keep track of cold spots and sudden temperature changes. He moves along to the next piece of equipment like he's Vanna White. Here we have an EMF recorder, which picks up electromagnetic fields and particularly high levels of energy. This is just a regular digital recorder for picking up sound. This one is an SB7 spirit box. It does a sweep of frequencies and can help us pick up on sounds and voices we may not hear on our own. And this guy, oh man. He holds up a small square box that looks like it's just a digital recorder. It's a good thing that he'll be the one using this stuff, because if it were me, I would be invested in a fun label maker at this time. Everything looks the same to me. I blink a few times. How much of this stuff did you already have? None of it. And here I thought you were already a professional ghost hunter. Well, I mean, I had the camcorder and the digital recorder, obviously, but that's normal. This thing, the Ovulus, it contains a database of words and syllables. So if we ask the ghost a question, this machine would pick up changes in the temperature or magnetic fields and give us auditory responses. I cross my arms. You have got to be kidding me. No, I'm not. This is how we can communicate with ghosts. He waves the device around like a noisemaker on New Year's Eve. Like, if I asked right now what the ghost in this room wants for dinner, it would tell me that it wanted steak. Well, it might be a vegetarian, he mutters into his chest. After we settle, we take a tour of the hotel with one of the staff members. Scroll handled all our permits, and the hotel has allowed us to film on site. Some of our travels will have to be dictated by where we can go. We take turns behind and in front of the camera, and Hayden registers a few particularly cold areas and EMF spikes, but nothing's really that out of the ordinary. I snap photos on my phone. Hayden's looming over, looking at my screen each time we detect orbs. We detect no orbs. Following the tour, we break for dinner at one of the Roosevelt's many trendy bars. A bartender brings us our drinks, and Hayden swivels his bar stool to face me. Have you ever stayed in a haunted hotel before? I ask. I have, he says. To be fair, I grew up near Boston, so just about everything there is haunted. Ooh, guys, I went on a haunted Boston tour once. It was really fun. Oh, yeah, that explains the slight accent. What? He keeps... I don't have an accent. Oh, yes, you do. When you get upset about something, you sound like an angry fan at a Red Sox game. He drops his R's and widens his A's, and it's another part of the facade chipping away. I've never imagined finding a Boston accent sexy before, but I also never thought I'd find a monster hunter sexy either. The man is too good at poking holes in everything that I know. Yeah, well, wait until the season starts. We're gonna have to schedule our work around the games very carefully. Uh-huh. If you're from Massachusetts, what made you move to LA anyway? You could theoretically podcast from anywhere. Hayden swirls his drink and picks the orange peel out of his old fashioned. I don't know, it was time for a new start. Thank God you didn't say you came here to be an actor. He laughs, biting the corner of his lip. Yeah, no, obviously not that. You saw how bad I was in front of the camera. I never would have made it as an actor. I'm not really so good in front of the camera either, I concede. His shoulders shift, and I recognize the movement as a rattle of discomfort runs through him when he has a point to argue. It unsettles me that he wants to argue this point of all things. How could someone who hardly knows me feel so strongly about that? What I also can't explain is the coy smile and determined look in Hayden's eyes as he waits for me to find the rest of my words. I feel confused and nervous in a way that I haven't for years. Full of doubt and certainty at the same time, something flutters in my stomach and makes my palms a little itchy. I'm suddenly so aware of everything. The way Hayden's ice cube pops in his glass, the closeness of his brown leather hiking boots to mine, the scent of his earthy cologne, and the rich browns in his hair and his beard. It's the jitters in my stomach, my breath whooshes out of me as I try to speak, and the prickling sensation at the back of my neck. Well, it's a feeling of attraction I've only felt a few times in my life and taken a chance on even fewer. It's what I've wanted, it's a want I've only followed into the lair once and left with bites and scratches. Hayden makes me want to believe in a lot of things, and right now he's making me believe I won't always need to fear this feeling. Instead, I smile and swallow the feelings with another sip of my drink. I think it's maybe time for me to start a new one too. By the time the sun goes down, we've relegated ourselves to our room for the investigation. Hayden arranges the camcorder to film both of us on our respective beds, all of our gear lingering between us. What's up, ghosties? We're here to hang. I don't think the ghosts want to be called ghosties, Hallie. Did they tell you that themselves through your uvula thing? No. Ovulus? No, but they might say that. He picks up his audio recorder and hits record, settling it carefully on the nightstand, and then he fetches his handy little ovulus and places it between us. Do we need to chant or something? I ask. No, but we do need to try and engage with the spirits. He passes me the small camcorder. But we also need to be respectful. You don't want to piss off a ghost, Hallie. What's it gonna do? Make me cold? Ghosts have killed people before. His expression is dead serious. Outside of movies? Outside of movies, Hallie. He composes himself. Okay, spirits of the Hollywood Roosevelt, we come in peace. No, I say, we don't. We come seeking views on the internet, and if the ghost of Marilyn Monroe is here, can you please tell us what the hell happened with JFK? We're doing an episode on him next, so like any tidbits you have would be totally awesome. We can't admit to them that we're in it for the views. You're making us seem disingenuous. Hasn't anyone told you not to pay any mind to what people think of you? Easier said than done. I obviously do not mind what people think of me, Hayden says. I talk about Bigfoot for a living, for God's sakes. And suddenly he looks nervous, a shiver running through his shoulders. Okay, not to be that guy, but I just got really cold all of a sudden. Okay, put on a jacket. Wait, are you scared? No, you don't understand, he seeds, and his hands run up and down his arms to satiate the goosebumps rising in his skin. I'm from Boston. I drink iced coffee even when it's below 0. This is cold. This is evil. I attempt to smother my laughter. Do you want the ghost to like fart and warm up the room or something? I don't think that they can do that. I'm joking, but leave it to Hayden to fact check my ghost fart joke. I'm sorry about her. She's new at this, and I'm doing my best to educate her. Please don't come down too harshly on, if you can hear us. I interrupt. Move something. No, do not. We both quiet as my phone charger drops off the nightstand. Of course, the cord isn't glued to the surface, but Hayden, all 6 foot something of him, jumps on his bed. His back presses hard against the headboard and he's covering his mouth. They just moved your charger. It fell. It was loose in the first place. It moved, Hallie. Doesn't mean it was a ghost. Oh, It definitely was a ghost. Fine. I stand up and look around the room for something I can test our fake ghost friend with. Can you tell us a name? There are so many famous ghosts here, Hallie. I sit beside him, the ovulus between us. How thrilling! You're gonna get to meet a celebrity. I like my celebrities alive, thanks, he says. What's your name? I ask again. We hover over the device and then a word pops up on the screen. A digitalized voice announces it for us. Little. Hayden squints, jaw hanging slack, trying to find something hidden in the meeting. Little? Oh my God, there's a little girl that's reported to be haunting this hotel. Bitch, the device snaps, and then sorry, you guys. I didn't see that coming. That's funny. That caught me off guard. I was really in the moment until that happened. He did warn her. His gaze lifts to mine and then back to the ovulus and then back to me. Did the ghost just call me a bitch? I scratched my head. I mean, it might have been talking about me. It did say little and you are kind of large. Hayden frowns at the device. That's derogatory and it's really not nice to call a woman a bitch. Ass, it corrects. Hayden and I both shrug. I guess that's better, he concedes. Gender neutral too. I deserve that. Of course, Hayden scoffs, and he pulls his knees up to his chest. You told a ghost its experiences were invalid. You were just mean to it. Fine. Maybe it'll interact with you. I scoot back, and my hands are up in surrender. If you like Hayden better, can you touch him? No! Poke him. I dare you. The two of us linger in silence, and down the hall other guests chat. Loud rap music echoes from the street below. A toilet flushes above us, but nothing pokes either me or Hayden. He rubs his arms a few times, but obviously trying to rationalize his psychosomatic tender arm strokes. This ghost is a consent king, I whoop. We love that. We continue to film periodically through the night, and Hayden leaves the recorder running to give a thorough listen tomorrow. But I presume the most riveting thing we're going to pick up is either snoring or sleep talk. Meanwhile, I plan to pop 2 melatonin gummies and try to sleep through whatever mid-sleep recordings Hayden tries to do. I know it's inevitable. I let Hayden shower first, trying not to think about the prospect of him being naked a room away because we still have to spend the rest of the night together and it's easier said than done, and my skin feels all kinds of warm. He emerges a couple minutes later in the same clothes as before and we swap places. I run the water and place my pile of clothing on the counter, and that's when I realize I've forgotten a change of underwear, naturally. I fling open the door and contemplate the stealthiest way to grab a single pair of underwear from my bag without Hayden noticing. But stealth is clearly not my specialty because within seconds, I crash into something. No, not something. Someone. I catch a handful of smooth skin and firm muscle, and it feels like an electric shock running through my fingertips. If I could breathe, I know I'd been breathing in the fresh scent of amber and whiskey mingled with the lemon verbena soap in the hotel shower. But I'm not breathing because I'm touching Hayden, and I can't draw my eyes away from where we touch. And at the end of a branch that spreads across the left side of his stomach, attached to a skeletal tree much like the deer on his arm, inked on his side, rooted beneath the waist of his boxers and pajama bottoms. Now I know that the waves on his arms wash over the shoulders of his shore of his chest and shoulders, and the kraken's tentacles clutch around snails and masts on the top of his bicep, gripping him like I suddenly want to. His torso's toned, and with thin muscles wrapping around his stomach and chest, and when I run out of ink to gawk at, my eyes track across a thin layer of dark hair on his chest that extends down his stomach, and all I can process is how much more of him I want to explore, and the way he catches me with a firm grip on my arm. Oh my God, I whisper. I don't mean for it to come out like that, but it does. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you weren't decent. We yank away from each other, and I conclude the best course of action is to just cover my eyes, which feels foolish, but I don't want Hayden to see the heat in my cheeks the way I'm struggling to look at anything else in the room. No, wait, it's okay. He stutters, quickly reaching for the t-shirt on the bed beside him. Did you need something? No, I spit out. I'll handle the underwear debacle later. Absolutely not. Sorry, bye. I stumble back into the bathroom and slam the door. Jesus, God, this is horrible. I try to think of something very unsexy, like the Loch Ness Monster, or maybe the Yeti, but then I imagine Hayden talking about them, emphatic hand movements, the passionate drawl of his voice, and when I step into the shower, I notch the temperature down a little. After dragging my brain out of the gutter as I showered, I wipe my makeup off and stand in front of the mirror. A weight sits on my chest. My skin is splotchy, and I should start doing a regular skin routine. I worry about Hayden, what Hayden will think of the circles under my eyes and the flatness of my damp hair. Is he going to wish he had a better looking co-host? Is he going to regret asking me to be on camera with him? I change for bed, begrudging how I have to sleep in a bra tonight, but the last thing I need is for Hayden to know that I have boobs. Small ones, granted, but he doesn't really need to know about them. I carefully exit the bathroom and peer out, and thankfully, Hayden is fully dressed in a pair of spaceship pajama pants and an Emerson College hoodie. He sits on the bed, toying with the spirit box, and it begins to thump in bursts of white noise. It's one of the most grating sounds I've ever heard, and I glance around the room. "Is anyone here?" he asks it. A garbled sound of noises echoes from the machine, and it sounds like radio frequencies, not words. "How did you die?" "What?" "I made contact with someone named George." "George." He nods, so earnest that it hurts me. There's something so pure about the way Hayden does everything. He waits for each burst of the spirit box to give him something, even if it's only a blip of an Enrique Iglesias song from a nearby radio. "What did George say?" I ask. "George, do you have anything to say?" There's another garble. I'm beginning to get a headache just listening to this thing, and I'm also partially worried that someone will call the front desk about the odd noises coming from our room. He says, "Lick." Hayden frowns at the spirit box, "but that's not really helpful." "That's nasty," I cry through a mouthful of toothpaste. "Well, if you don't believe in ghosts, then you have no reason to be afraid of one licking you, right?" I spit into the sink and rinse. Returning to my bed, I lean back on the comforter and turn my head to the side as Hayden flips open his camcorder again. I'm glad that we've moved from close encounters of the shirtless kind without incident. I wonder if he's made many changes to his nightly routine, like how I'm wearing a bra to bed. Does he wear spaceship pattern pajama pants every night? Or if I weren't here, would he be sleeping in boxers? Or maybe nothing at all. And then I'm thinking about Hayden Sans clothes again. "Any last words?" He turns his video camera on me. I cover my face with my hands. "Oh God, no, don't do that. I don't have any makeup on." So I look ugly." That couldn't be further from the truth. His words shock both of us, and he quickly clears his throat as I lower my hands. "What?" "You look..." He mentally bounces between options like he's on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire before eventually selecting a final answer. "Fine. Don't worry. You look fine." Somehow, this brings a sense of relief. I'm not prepared for what to do if he told me that I was pretty or something. I'm not ready for a compliment from someone who looks like him. Not someone who makes my stomach do flips and looks at me like I matter. He looks at me like he's eager to hear what I have to say. He studies me. I don't think Kate ever even saw me like that. "We don't have to film if you're all ready for bed, if you don't want to," he finishes. That couldn't be further from the truth, I hear him say again. "No, it's actually fine." Hayden turns the camera on me again with a smile. "Take two. Any last words?" "Before you kill me?" I laugh. "No, before one of the many ghosts in this hotel kills you." "They would not." "They might," he teases, flipping the camera on himself. "Okay, we're about to head to sleep, and I had a quick conversation with a ghost named George a few minutes ago, but he proved generally uninformative. We'll see if we find anything nefarious overnight, and hopefully we will survive our stay." He shuts the camera and sets it on the nightstand beside him. Hayden settles on the bed, and my underwire digs into my side, but it's better than a nip slip. We aren't on the best indecent exposure track record so far. I turn on my side to face him as Hayden dims the light between us. His hair is still drying, dark curls forming at the nape of his neck as sleepiness hangs in his eyelids. He slides under the covers and tucks the hood of his sweatshirt over his head, bundling up. He removes his glasses and sets them beside his phone on the nightstand. It's the first time I've ever seen him without them for an extended amount of time. He'll take them off to rub his eyes or his nose or when he gets very into explaining something, but here they're off and it feels like letting down some kind of barrier between us. He's handsome with or without them, but he feels vulnerable now. Without the frames demanding attention, I notice that he has light freckles on his nose and great dark eyelashes. I like this unguarded version of him. "How much can you see without your glasses?" Hayden huffs out a laugh. "Absolutely nothing." "Nothing at all? That's sad. How are you going to see all the ghosts tonight?" "I'm going to have to rely on all my other keen senses in this case. Thankfully, you have blue hair, so I can generally see you," he says, waving in my direction. "In case you need someone to snuggle with when you get scared." I'm not sure why I said that, and I'm not particularly proud of it. His tiny smile taunts me, but he scoffs to hide it. "Me? Scared? Never. makes you easy to spot in stores or something, I guess. I roll my eyes. Yes, and every mom in the city has to comment on the fact that my hair is blue. Okay, I gotta say, that's a total, like, that doesn't happen in LA. Nobody comments on colored hair in Los Angeles. That's just, maybe if you were like in Kansas or something, but nobody in Los Angeles is commenting on your colored hair anywhere. That does not happen. And I can speak as someone who's had every single color hair. Yeah, it's like how my mom was with all the tattoos. I still have to wear long sleeves when I visit her because she doesn't like to look at them, he jokes. But it hardly feels like a joke. My parents didn't love the blue, but it hardly feels like a joke. My parents didn't love the blue hair at first, but they were never grounding and yelling type. So they got used to it and they accepted the fact that this was my self-expression. Yeah, I think they're cool. How many tattoos do you have? You mean you didn't count before? His eyebrow quirks when he laughs. Of course he noticed me checking him out. I wasn't exactly discreet about it, but this is a conversation that I am not prepared to have with him. I could ask what he meant when he said that I looked fine, because it was clearly not the word that he wanted to use. The number must be pretty high, I tell him. The deer on your arm, it's not a deer. It sure looks like a deer. It's not a deer. You already said that. He breaks into a smile and shakes his head. No, a not deer. What the F is a not deer? The urban legend from Appalachia? It's a deer at first glance, but the longer you look at it, there's obviously something wrong with it. So it's an ugly deer? I laugh, burying myself in the pillow. Not deer. Sure. Yeah, no, you tell yourself that, Hayden. And instead of a rebuttal, he offers a small laugh, turning on his side to look at me. I don't know how well he can see me, but he smiles anyway, so I smile too. You really can't see anything right now? I ask. Hardly. Why? No reason, I lie. Sleep tight, Hayden. Good night, Hallie. Don't let the ghosties bite. I'm fairly certain that they won't. He scoffs and turns over, hitting the light, and as soon as the lights are off, I reach behind me and unhook my bra, wiggling out of it and tossing it into my bag. I'm so happy that he's vision impaired in this moment, and within a few minutes his breathing deepens, so there's no snoring, thankfully. At least if we're going to spend the night time buddied up on our hunts, at least we'll get a decent night's sleep. I fall into a committed slumber quickly, only to wake several hours later to voices. Siri, what time is it? Hayden whispers. Siri, that traitor, shouts, It's 2:47 a.m. A flash from our night vision camera brightens in the room, and Hayden sits at the corner of his bed with the camera turned on himself, glasses still off, framing him poorly. It's almost 3 in the morning, and something touched my foot. Our room looks empty now, though. He turns the camera around and scans the room. It could have been a dream, but it felt real. Like, really real. Like, man, I'm totally shaking right now. Finally, Hayden realizes I'm awake. I felt something, he hisses. I collapse into the covers. Hayden, stop. Please go to sleep. It's pretty funny. It's 9:13. We might be able to get through another chapter. Let's see if we can bowl through this. So this next chapter looks like it's like almost like an AIM chat, or comments on a video or something. So I'm going to read the username and then the comment. XOXO Gossip Cat. Dad, this two or something else. Why watch all scrolls cooking videos when there's this? Not a bot, 283, blah, 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 blah. I think this guy puts a little much too weight on the ovulus. It's really not proven to work. Otherwise, the show is pretty good. False flags. Okay, but did anyone else know that this is what he looked like? Roswell at false flags. Yeah, dude, he's on the website. False flags at Roswell. Oh, okay, more importantly, do you think that they're dating? It turns out people like watching Hayden and me antagonize ghosts. The ghosts got their views, after all. And later that week, Hayden and I stood in the Nyan Cat conference room as Chloe played our pilot episode for the team. 30 minutes of bullshitting, ghost hunting, and sharp editing. Hayden handled all the storytelling while Jamie and I did the physical editing. It was a show, a real show. One we made together, one that I was a part of just as much as he was. And by the end of the presentation, I was a ball of giddy energy, ready to run and find the closest haunted house. So giddy, in fact, that I hardly heard Chloe give us the go-ahead for a full season. The thrill of making something that has never felt this thrilling before. It was a good thing that I was so ready for it, because we had to pull it together another episode in the next week. I spent the following days at Hayden's apartment, since he has a better workspace, central AC, and easily accessible library resources from morning until evening. I always arrive with coffee, and we expense takeout while we work all day. I know that there are things in Hayden's apartment now. I know where things are in Hayden's apartment now. He keeps the beer on the lower half of the fridge door, flatware's in the drawer beside the sink, the bathroom is always clean, and there's always toilet paper. And I have yet to see his bedroom, but I imagine that that's clean too. Or at least all the mess is shoved in there where I can't see it. It's nearly time to break out the takeout menus for dinner when Hayden asks me to fetch him a book from the shelf. This week's mission is Who Killed JFK? Was it a cover-up, or was it aliens? Or was it aliens and a cover-up? I'm not sure what I buy yet, but the fact that I even entertain these ideas, I guess, is some progress. Some episodes are going to be on location, while others are mostly filmed in studio. Most scroll shows use a lot of their budget on video and music licensing. Cade used a lot of his, getting influencer guest stars on his show. We've set aside most of our funds for travel accommodations. For our in-studio episodes, we'll spend more time on our graphics and editing and make those episodes pop. But driving to Dealey Plaza, is it Dealey Plaza or Daily Plaza? I don't actually know. In Dallas would make us look like tourists, and it wouldn't really enhance the episode. Hayden's been looping a play-by-play of the assassination on TV for over an hour, pausing periodically to break down key moments with his laser pointer that supports the alien theory he plans to talk about in the episode. I've seen the video so many times now that I'm giving Warren Commission a run for its money. I'm at least grateful for the poor filming quality of 1963, so I'm not seeing high-definition brain matter every 10 seconds of my life. All right, the book that you're looking for should be pretty beat up. I got it secondhand. The author's last name is Haggerty. Hayden directs from the couch. He's face down in his laptop, jotting down notes in the window, writing a script in one window and writing a script in the other one. Today he's struggling to compile a surplus of information from his 4-part podcast series and condense it down to a single half-an-hour episode for us. But it's all compelling, Hallie. Okay, you don't understand just how many theories there are out there. Listen, I cannot cut the magic bullet segment, Hallie. I can't do that. He spent most of the day frustrated, and I'm learning that frustrated Hayden typically manifests in his face dropped into books or his keyboard. He paces and then talks through his frustration, which I often do not understand, but I listen to nevertheless. And sometimes he hums the X-Files theme song under his breath. I can usually make him laugh, or I try to distract him. I can usually humble him by reminding him that I have no idea what the F he is talking about. He has so many books in his place, it's going to take me at least a minute to find what he's looking for. The shelves stretch from floor to ceiling and are alphabetized. What kind of man alphabetizes his books? One I am clearly turned on by. The books on his shelf are either well-loved or not acknowledged at all. Some are crisp with firm covers, likely self-published or small press based off the titles. I don't imagine there's a wide market for something called Bigfoot and Stonehenge, A True History. Good Lord, you have a lot to read, I turn to Hayden. He smirks, his pencil bitten between his teeth before it falls, and he frowns. I don't get bored. To be fair, a lot of people do send me books hoping that I'll promote their work or something like that. Do you, though? Well, if it's good. I return to my hunt, hitting the H's. Hadcock, Hal, Hamilton, Hargrove. I backtrack. Hargrove. I examine the spines, my fingers running over the titles in front of me, and I recognize them from school libraries and entire shelves at the bookstore. There are several editions of the same book for selected titles, some older and worn, some special edition covers. It looks like a whole collector's shelf. Tugging one from the bookshelf, I survey the cover. Serpent Who Smiles. I'd read it in high school for a horror unit, while most other students resorted to Spark Notes. I kind of actually enjoyed it. And then I slept with the lights on for a few days. They didn't call him the master of horror for no reason. I flipped to the author bio, and the man staring back at me has dark wavy hair, bright green eyes, and a youthful handsomeness that I feel like I've been staring at like a 9-to-5 job lately. My eyes drift above the book to where Hayden sits on the couch, waves of chestnut hair, bright green eyes. Sorry, were you ever going to mention that your dad is Everett Hargrove? Hayden glances up, hunting for words. Of course, the clues had been here from the beginning. His name, a father who'd gotten into this stuff, a nice apartment. I can't believe I didn't notice it before. It's not a detail he advertises, but when I first looked Hayden up, I hadn't scoured the internet too deeply. There's no mention of his bio. There's no mention of his father in his bio for the out there. Hayden swallows. I don't know, you never asked. Our eyes meet. The same solemn cloud lingers in the room with us when he mentioned his mom at the Roosevelt. His mentions of family have been so scant that I never thought to fill in the blanks. Come to think of it, he hasn't mentioned much of anyone. He sure talks about historical members of the FBI and CIA like he knows them personally, but he hasn't mentioned any friends or any romantic partners. I wonder if, in a way, he's like his own kind of cryptid, isolated, elusive, something that takes some hunting to really learn about. No, I guess I didn't. Did you not, Google me? How did you find my email if you didn't Google me? Something in his tone doesn't sound pleased, as if it is something that I could have Googled. How could he blame me for uncovering it now? I don't know. I looked up the Out There and I went right to your website, and your website's really informative, so I didn't really need to go digging on your Wikipedia page or anything like that. Now I'm wondering if there is one there. Does he have a personal life section? Controversies? I'll have to find out later. Oh, I don't know. I figured you knew. It makes sense. I see how having a master of horror for Dad would get you into all this. I gesture to the wall of odd books behind me. When Hayden doesn't have anything to follow it up with, I search for my next line. Your dad's a great writer. Was. Past tense again. When any famous person dies, the internet floods with loving sentiments and acknowledgments of the gravity of their work. When the master of horror died several years ago, every writer I knew had something to say about it. For all those people who'd been inspired by his work, who felt like they knew him through the pages of his books, it didn't compare to how Hayden knew him. My throat dries as Hayden stands up and paces across the room to me. He leans against the bookshelf, arms crossed in front of his chest. His breathing's heavier but controlled. I don't know how to read his emotions right now. It looks like right now the wound is still held together with shoddy stitches, ready to tear open at any second. Hayden, I'm so sorry. His lips tighten and he shrugs. Thanks. I thumb through the titles on the shelves. He must have a copy of every single one of his father's books, so it's hard to tell. There's so many to remember every title. I stop near the end of the row, slipping a hardly touched book from the shelf, and Hayden watches in silence as I run my fingers over the jacket of his dad's final novel, Phantom Lake. This one, though, this was my favorite. I read it while trapped in an airport for a whole day during the polar vortex. It was the only thing that kept me from committing homicide or ending up on the no-fly list. His eyebrows raise above his glasses. He adjusts the backward Red Sox hat on his head. This one? What? You have a least favorite of your dad's book or something? Well, no, but he finally breaks into a smile. It's half tired and half-hearted, but it's a flash of Hayden that I'm growing to like. It was the last one. He was so sick by the time it came out, we couldn't really celebrate the release. It's still a bestseller. Most people don't really want to talk about the content, just that it was his final book. I don't know. I like to think that it was good because he wrote it, not just because he died. Was the Out There his idea? Kind of. Hayden shifts in front of me, rubbing the back of his neck, and my eyes trace along the inside of his bicep, and I notice something new about the tattoo each time I study him. Today, it's a small, odd-looking mermaid swimming around in the waves on the waves around the ship on his arm, and when I look up at him, there are words on his lips, but he's weighing each one of them carefully. I got bullied a lot as a kid. I'm sure that's really impossible for you to imagine. His voice breaks off into a teasing laugh. As easy as it is to picture him far thinner with big glasses on his face, I hope anyone who messed with him realized the kid that they shoved around had a serious glow up later. I was weird and shy, and I had a really hard time making friends, and whenever I came home sad or upset, my dad would plan something for us to do that weekend. He'd rent a cabin in the woods for the two of us, and we'd go on these crazy monster hunts. He slides his glasses over his hat, and it feels like a curtain's rising before a Broadway show. He's allowing himself to be on display here, but it's not at all the quirky personality behind the microphone. Off mic and off camera, Hayden has a quiet presence. For all his height and muscles, he's never once intimidated me. Now, of course, I know that he was full of it on a lot of these hunts. He'd tell me to be on guard for, Pope Lick monster up in the woods of Massachusetts. Oh, yes, absolutely foolish of him. Everyone knows that the Pope Lick monster, I just leaning against the bookshelf with him, resides in Kentucky. Hayden glares, holding back a laugh. Yeah, no, of course, I knew that. But I didn't know that when I was 10. It was one time I felt like I wasn't so weird after all. He always knew what I needed without me ever having to ask. He twists at the watch around his wrist. The podcast wouldn't really exist if not for him. And we wouldn't be here without him either. Yeah. This is the first time I'm hearing about Hayden's life outside of the Out There, and I want more. I want to understand everything about him because I'm constantly shocking myself with how much I like every part of him. We couldn't be more different, and yet the look in his eyes tells me that he wants to say more too. He just doesn't really know how. So how do you go from hunting the licking guy to running a podcast? Hayden frowns. Licking guy makes him sound so non-consensual. 8 years ago, when he first got sick, it was just the two of us. And after their divorce, my mom moved to San Francisco with her new husband. So we had this old brownstone in Boston that we lived in to be close to the hospital there. He had the LA apartment for when we came out here for work with his film agent. And I just was starting college. I skipped the dorm experience so I could take care of him. When you were 18? 19, he corrects. It's still so young to give up the most exploratory years of life to care for someone else. It's a sacrifice not many would make. It's a sacrifice not many could make. It's still a lot. He toys with the bottom of his t-shirt, picking at the loose string there. Today's t-shirt is a worn baby blue one with 2 crows and the caption, "Attempted murder." That's funny. ALS isn't an easy way to die, but he made it for 5 years. I needed a job that would let me work from home, so I did other audio engineering jobs remotely, student films, indie albums, until I started the podcast. I was only ever away from home for a few hours at a time near the end. I could always pause recording if you really needed something. Hayden says it like it's nothing. He says it with the same obviousness as when he talks about his more confident theories. There's no doubt in his voice when he says it was clear and it was an easy choice to be at his dad's beck and call. I'm sure that he really appreciated having someone there to help him. Yeah. Finally, he breaks into a shy smile, rolling his eyes. He'd always tell me to go out and have fun and go to parties and fool around, do normal kid stuff. He'd threatened to hire a temporary caretaker just to get me out of the house. It was like he hoped that one day I'd come home like a drunk mez or get caught smoking pot or something like that. Well, did you? No, not really. I mean, occasionally at night I'd go out for drinks or spend time with my girlfriend, but even then I was waiting for my phone to ring in case a nurse would call and tell me that she needed to explain something or something would go wrong. I never wanted to do anything that made it hard to switch gears if I had to. Hayden's glasses slid back onto his face, so sadly no passing around a dirty bong in someone's basement for me. You weren't really missing out on much, I assure him, but it doesn't make up for years of time given entirely to someone else, time that he'll never get back. It takes a strong person to do what you did. Your dad was lucky to have such a good kid. I was lucky to have such a good dad, is all he says back. Do you think he'd approve of the direction the show's taking? He allows a crinkle of a smile to pass between us and then he steps closer. He would approve of whatever makes me happiest. So yeah, I think he'd really like this, and I think he'd like you too. Even if I don't buy all the spooky shit. He's so close now that I feel the same smothering sensation I felt in the hotel bar. It's like drowning. His gaze just pulls me in deeper underwater and my heart starts to race as he studies me. The silence is stiffening. His throat clears. Yeah, even if you don't buy all the spooky shit. I pass Hayden the copy of Phantom Lake and he slips it back into its place on the shelf beside my head. He doesn't back away just yet, leaning against the bookshelf and glancing down at me. My gaze flicks to his mouth as he bites at his bottom lip and then moves lower over his shoulders and bicep. I'm desperate to know what he's thinking if he's thinking the same things as me. What my hair feels like between his fingers, maybe what my lips would taste like, what his body would feel like against mine. I'm just as terrified as I am hungry for what comes next. And just as I imagine what his hands would look like exploring my body, he jolts away. Ow! A sad mew comes from the floor, and it's Cthulhu's fangs unhooked from the bottom of Hayden's jeans. I never anticipated getting beep boop blocked by a cat named Cthulhu, but unexpected is how I describe most parts of my life recently. That was really rude, Hayden lectures the cat. I feed you all the time. What did I say? We got restricted, you guys. Is it Cthulhu? Did I get restricted from Cthulhu biting him? It's a cat. Is this a joke? This got restricted? Please, TikTok, be so for real right now. It's a cat named Cthulhu. Ridiculous. We break apart as if none of this happened, and electricity fizzles out of the air. Hayden snatches the book I was supposed to be hunting for before we got sidetracked, and I dart back to the couch, feeling flushed and thinking that maybe watching the JFK assassination repeatedly will push these thoughts out of my brain. How do they know what beep boop is, Jennifer? How would they know? I put my head in my notebook, steadying my breathing before he speaks again. And thanks. I look back up at him. For... Hayden leans against the edge of the couch, flipping through the book pages, and I catch a subtle shake to his hands. Is that because of me? I look at my own hands. We match, listening when you said, oh yeah, maybe. I said, but I understand, you're probably right, Avery, but like as far as TikTok, a murder of crows is a phrase. Like that's just how you say a lot of crows. You know? You can't be mad at every word. There's different meanings to different words. I know you're not mad, Avery. I'm talking to TikTok. She's probably right. It probably is that. The words feel so empty between us, and everything in my composure shrinks like a balloon, deflating. I linger on how young he looks now. The beard makes him look a touch older than 27 usually, but I don't really see that today. I see someone who gave up all their young adult years for someone else, whose late college nights weren't just cramming for exams, but were filled with hospital trips and being ready to wake up and help at all times. Someone who's completely selfless. Yeah, no, of course. I don't talk about it so much, so sometimes it's nice to just tell someone. There isn't always someone to listen. It's an admission in its own way, one I know that Hayden doesn't take lightly. He said it's far easier than what he said is far easier than admitting that he's lonely. His gaze hovers over me as I chew on his words. I learn a lot about people I don't know from you, but it's actually really nice to learn about you for a change. Finally, it's like we can both breathe again, and Hayden's eyes drift to the TV where JFK is seconds away from being taken out by a magic bullet. I haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet, Hayden says. And then this is what it shows, like a little screen thing. It says, out there, episode number 2, The Magic Bullet is Not a Blender. On this week's episode of The Out There, Hayden and Hallie dive into the JFK assassination. They break down the facts and theories from plausible to preposterous. Was it a lone extremist who killed the president, or was it something else? Hayden, one of the more creative theories is that JFK was killed by the CIA. Hallie, that's not creative. See, I'm learning. There's a CIA did it theory behind almost everything. Hayden, sure, but the why is the creative part, and I'm not sure you're even going to buy it. Hallie, okay, try me. Hayden, so in 1947, which is coincidentally the same year as the Roswell crash, President Truman established a secret organization of scientists and government officials and stuff to investigate UFOs. It was called Majestic 12, or MJ-12 for short. There were 12 people. Hallie, if there weren't, then they're super bad at naming things. Hayden, in October of 1963, the MJ-12 issued a letter to the members discussing some questions that Lancer, JFK's Secret Service codename, had been asking that weren't going to fly. They referenced the phrase, "It has to be wet." Hallie, ew, gross. It means to kill. Hallie, somehow kill sounds better. The CIA is out there like, we love when things are moist. Hayden, no one loves when things are moist. Well, okay, there are some times when listen, Hallie, have I told you that I hate you yet today? Hayden, actually, no. Hallie, well, we're moistening up the president. Go on ahead. Hayden, after a month of moistening, JFK was dead. The theory is that JFK was asking questions about UFO and aliens and was planning to share what he knew with the Soviet Union, so they killed him. Hallie, why in the hell would JFK want to give any information to the Soviet Union? How does that help anyone? He clearly missed the whole Cold War unit in my sophomore year, clearly. Hayden, yeah, I guess he was out sick that day. Hallie, what does JFK get from buddying up with the Soviets? Hayden, oh, I bet the MJ-12 asked the same questions until they decided to kill him. I would absolutely watch this show too, you guys. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that we would definitely watch this just for their banter. Hallie, you don't really believe this, do you? Hayden, I find it compelling. Yeah. Good stuff, you guys. Good stuff. Well, today we got through 2 more chapters and we got 2 restrictions. So, good stuff. It is very cute. We'll have to ask her lots of questions about it. You know, it's gonna be fun. All right. So, like I said before, the signups are up for Roll for Slime. If you participated in the super sale that I put on Patreon over the weekend, those are going to the mail as soon as the post office opens today. And pretty much can't think of anything else. Does anyone have any questions before I get to work for the day? I can't wait to show you guys the slime room. It looks so nice. I just have to organize my desk and it'll be done. But we're rocking and rolling. We have Roll for Slime tomorrow. We have Roll for Slime Thursday. Tonight is the finale of The Bachelorette. No spoilers, please. I'm still going through them, Liz. I'm not done yet. I'm still counting some last stuff to see if I have enough to do any more. But that's why I paused yesterday, because I need to like recount and see what I can do. Sorry, I have the hiccups. That's why I keep doing that. But I will continue that today. Do not fret. So that is, do you still have the Blue Hawaiian scent? I'm not sure if I have any Blue Hawaiian scent in stock right now, but I can always get it. It just takes a little while to get scents, but they are always orderable if I don't have one in stock right now. Well, I guess I shouldn't say always orderable, but Blue Hawaiian is pretty much always orderable because multiple companies have it, so that's good. What else is going on? That's pretty much the whole kit and caboodle. So I will see you all later, and obviously tomorrow morning for some more book clubbing. I'm thinking, because I'd like to finish this book before we leave town. If it looks like, I might have like one day where we do either an extra book club or an extra long book club to get through a couple more extra chapters so that we can try to finish this on time, because there's 20, I think there's like 28 chapters or something like that. We're on chapter 9, so I just want to make sure we finish before we go. But I'll get back to you on that once I do a little bit more, like trying to figure out the math of it all. We've been basically doing 2 chapters a day, so we might be okay. But I will let you know. All right, I'll see you all later. Have a great day, you guys.